Alright boys, how's done?
Right.
Good. Shanks, welcome back. What's been happening?
Not a lot, mate. Just been enjoying my summer. Didn't really want to see any of you arseholes, so thought I'd come back. It's getting into winter months now. I get a bit lonely.
The Bordeaux game was brilliant, wasn't it? Thursday. Fucking buzzing off that game, weren't
you?
You
See that Kevin McKenna goal, man?
Mate, you were that. You had to peel you off the ceiling. You couldn't believe it, man.
Aye.
You were absolutely buzzing.
Can't believe it 1-1.
Right, boys, Ken. If only we'd 1-2-1. That would have been a beautiful day, wouldn't it? Ando, what's been happening?
Not much, man. Obviously, for any who's watching the YouTube version of this, you'll see you've just got my lovely still face. I'm in the middle of what feels like the third world because our broadband's been cut off, and it should be back on tomorrow. But you don't realise how much you fucking rely on connectivity until you don't have it. It's just been a fucking misery. Having to go into the office every day at work, fucking raging.
A professional podcast with a plugged our sponsors there. I've had my broadband cut off, and now time for a word from our sponsor.
Who is our sponsor these days? I've got no fucking idea. Is it still the guys that shave our balls? I'm not sure.
I was going to say, with the fact that all six of us are sitting here with baldy balls, it better still be Manchester. We've gone through that pain for nothing. Talking to wee boys, Tam, what's been happening?
Funny you should say that. Actually, my Manscaped fucking died. It's not working.
As in the shaver or your actual stuff?
The shaver, man.
Because you just go to a doctor.
I've just got too many pubes. It just clogged it up, man. I've got loads of pubes.
See, that story was believable to you. You don't get any pubes. Brad, what's been happening?
Not much, mate. Not much. Back to the grind. So, aye. No any holidays now. Boring.
Aye. Again, mate, don't worry though. I'm sure all your hard work will pay off and you'll get some holidays in the next, 2 weeks?
2 weeks time, aye.
2 weeks time, 3 weeks time or something. I'm sure you'll get some more. You'll be rewarded with some more time off. Kev, what's been happening?
Just been booking flights, mate. Booking flights.
Patching hotels is what you've been doing, but we'll leave that for a different podcast. It's fine. It's me and Shanks sleep on the streets of Riga by ourselves, but we'll come to that later in the podcast.
Shanks had told me you saw sorted out.
Aye, after you fucked us.
Aye. We're in a spa now. So, Kev, you just
Mate, we've been in 2 spas. We're in a Manchester spa and a Riga spa.
Still don't know if I've got any fucking accommodation, so there we go.
Mate, I hope I can see you from the spa when we're sitting in the steam room looking at and see you getting absolutely battered by... Where have we got? Where's Riga? Latvia.
Yes, mate.
You can come at our spa, Kev, but we'll probably just drown you.
In sweat.
Yeah, make him the barman. I'm like, oh boy, wait at the bar, get me a drink.
That's true. Right, well, welcome back to This Is My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As we say every week, all our opinions are our own and always miles off it. We'll go through Zurich. We'll talk about our European group, now that we know the dates and where we're off to on our European tour. We'll talk about the ridiculously long list of mountain injuries. Some of us will attempt to say the new midfielder's name. We'll talk about the away trips, plans for the podcast as well. We've got some exciting news in terms of European away days, but in Gorgie. We'll get venues and stuff sorted. We'll review St Johnstone as well. And then obviously we'll touch on the fact that by the time this is Tuesday night right now, so we'll have played Kelly and hopefully are in the quarterfinals of the League Cup. And then we'll look forward to Livy. Sound good, boys?
Perfect.
You've just spoiled it though. We're not going through tomorrow night now.
To be honest, man, Hearts will cost me too much money. I'll happily drop at the League Cup, man. My bank balance can't handle more games, and I don't want to go to Hampden again either. So let's get that in the bin for at least a while. Right, last week we started 1.5 pairs of World Cup, whatever the fuck it was you called it, Kev. So Guy's your feature again this week.
No worries. Haven't heard any bad reports from it on social media, so it can't be that bad.
Everyone just skipped through it, man.
Aye. Fast forward for 15 seconds, Kev's still talking. Another 15 seconds, Kev's still talking. Exactly. So I'll give you 4 little words in regards to a ex-Hearts player or existing Hearts player. It's just your job to put those 4 words together and come up with the player himself. And this week we will start with Indianapolis, Zlatan, a blank, and where the party's at. So Indianapolis, Zlatan, blank, and where the party's at is your first one. And the second one is trampoline, a solid 7, Parkhead, and Monkstown.
This is getting binned, Kev. This is fucking getting binned, man. God knows what you're fucking talking about.
So I'm just going to say, right, anyone that actually gets this, then send an email to the address on screen, and we'll send you a free T-shirt if you fucking absolutely manage to get that from our up and coming merch range. I don't know if we can talk about that yet or not.
Mate, very professional.
No.
That was very professional. I like that.
We're doing this for a while, man. And I've had 2 weeks off. I'm fucking ready to go.
We could kill 2 birds with the one stone.
This
We
is
could kill 2 birds with the one stone and get a picture of us with our manscaped balls in our new merch T-shirts.
Just the T-shirts, Buzz hanging out. That's class. I'm up for that.
That's what we could do. Right, say that last one again, Kev.
Last one was trampoline, solid 7, Parkhead, and Monkstown.
Okay.
I thought you were describing your ma there, Kev.
Fucking hell.
We were just
Wow. I never classed my man as a solid 7, but anyway,
I would.
And do not edit that one out.
Jeez.
Jeez.
I took a turn, man. Tam's got a Proud Boys polo and he thinks he's a hard man.
It's actually yellow and white for my favourite team, Livingston, this week.
I was going to. That's your part-time gig is the Livy Lion. Right. Brads, you've got a Tam down for us this week.
I have indeed.
Kev, we're going to do the answers at the end.
I will do the answers at the end.
Keep everybody riveted and holding on to the end so they get the answers to that unbelievable quiz. Right, Brads.
Yeah, I'll go through our Tam down. Obviously, we're talking about some glamorous European ties. So I thought of some power fixtures. So I've done 2. So you now get a choice between going to Estonia or going to Paksi. So I'm going to go with Tam and go with Hungary, always Hungary. And we're going to go for the 4-1. We're going to go for the 4-1 Paksi game in 2011. Tam, if you've got something else you want to do now, you can just jump off the new man and come back.
I'm going to do the Shanks bit for a wee coffee, man.
So the 4-1 home game, August 2011. I've got 3 subs as well and unused players. This is the usual format. I'll go around the board. Corbett, you're first on my list.
I have fucking no recollection of this game, so you just go, what year was it?
2011.
Is this obviously for the benefit of everybody else? I can't see the video just now because my internet won't support it. Is everybody's hands up?
Aye, mate, they're all struggling now, playing. So don't worry about it.
Mate, Tam couldn't even spell Paxi. So, there's no chance he's Googling anything.
I heard him in the toilet at the Shandon the other night asking for a Paxi.
Do you want to go for Talon instead then?
Well, we'll have a stab at that one.
Paxi
right, 2011.
2011.
2011. Who played for Hearts in 2011? Fuck's sake. Darren Barr.
Darren Barr did. He was an unused sub. There we go. Tam, you're next on my screen.
Jamie McDonald.
Jamie McDonald was also an unused sub. Ando, you're next.
Scatchell.
Scatchell was a sub who came on and he scored.
Fucking hell, man. We've not got any of the first 11. You could tell nobody was at this game. Or were
I
they?
was at it. That's why I remember
I
it.
don't know if in fact I was at it. I've got the ticket for it in my wee collection.
Shanks, you're next to mine.
Lee Wallace.
No. I think we were at this game together, Shanks, but don't worry about it.
Mate, I didn't tell what I had for my breakfast.
Red wine.
If McDonald was on the bench, it must have been Kello in goals.
It was Kello in goals. Well done. Corbett, back to you.
Ryan Stevenson.
Steve-O scored 2 goals. So there you go. Tam.
Jamie Hamill.
Jamie Hamill came on as a sub. That's correct. Ando.
The full bench then.
Oh yeah.
Andy Driver.
Andy Driver was our 4th goal scorer, our 3rd goal scorer. There you go. That's all the goal scorers gone. Shanky.
Danny Granger.
Danny Granger played. Yep.
Just naming left backs. Eh?
Right, Gold Dust. What are you thinking?
Ian Black must have been in the team at that time.
Blackie was playing. Absolutely. Corbs.
David Templeton.
Temps played. Yes. Tam.
Stephen Elliott.
Stephen Elliott played. He was a starter. Yep. There you go. You've got a first starting player, Tam.
Thanks.
Ando.
So I was busy digging around for my ticket. Did anyone say McGowan? Ryan McGowan?
Bowser was playing. Correct.
Google. Someone taking a room for my ticket on Google.
I've just sent.
Oh, was that Ryan
Yeah.
McGowan come on in 57 minutes and 16 seconds? Aye, that was
Check the group chat, you fucking clown. I've just dug out my ticket that I said I was finding, and I've just sent it to prove I was there, even though it's got someone else's name on it.
See the Google reflection in your glasses in the picture.
Right, Shanky, over to you, mate.
I'm going to go Suso.
No, Suso was not in that squad. Kev.
Andy Webster.
Andy Webster was not in that team. Corbett.
How many players have we got left?
2 starting players, 1 unused sub, and 2 unused sub and 1 sub that came on.
Was one of the guys somebody that hates me wants to fight me on Twitter?
I was thinking him, so probably.
You want to narrow that down quite a bit.
Aye, sure. He's on it.
He is not. No.
Right, okay.
Oh, sorry, there's 6 left.
Wait, that was a guess, surely.
Scott Robinson.
Scott Robinson was an unused sub. Well done. I thought I was going to have to get a clue. I was trying to figure out where he is now. Fucking at Kelly or something like that. Tam.
We don't say Zaliukas, have we?
No, Zaliukas was on the starting lineup. Ando.
Meditao.
Meditao was not in that team. Shanky.
Good curveball, Ando.
Nico.
No. Kev.
Because of your reaction there, Novikovic.
Correct.
I thought you were going to say
Go.
Damn it.
Cheers, Shanks.
Who was the boy? It's definitely no in this one. Who's the boy that played like centre mid, attacking midfielder, wore like number 29 or something? Give him a K.
Vasnevicius.
Karapidas.
Not Karapidis, the one Corbett just said.
Vasnevicius.
Whatever it was called.
He was not in that game either. Who was that there? Back to you, Corbett. 2 starting players left.
Ruben Palazuelos.
He is not in that one. Tam. You want some clues now?
No, didn't give them to him.
Aye.
No.
Just positions even. I think there's a centre mid we're missing.
Didn't give it.
Unused sub. Oh, sorry. A used sub was a striker who was pish for us and then was good for Motherwell.
John Sutton.
Oh.
It was John Sutton.
That was a good point for me. I've done really well there.
There's 2 left. Ando.
Boer.
No. Don't think Abel was there.
I'm
2011. Right, Shanky, your clue is one of our Polish players that comes up in every quiz that we do.
Aye.
Oh,
Christian Novak.
I've got it.
It's not Christian Novak.
Fuck!
Morovic.
Kev. It is Morovic.
Shit, that's the one. It's got to be.
Big Adrian. Big Adrian. Fuck.
Corbett, back to you for the last one.
We Denis Princhenko or whatever he was called, didn't they, on the bench and random like that for us, was it?
No, this is a starting player.
A starting player, right? Okay.
So he was gold, and then he went off to bigger and better things.
Actually, I think I've got it.
Canela?
No, mate. He played about 4 games for Hearts. He was gold and then went on to better things.
Aye, we've got it, I think.
Well, that's going to annoy me.
Didn't go in for bigger things, but I know what you're saying.
Technically, it's a bigger club in a bigger league.
I know it is.
Right,
Patterson?
I've got it, I think.
go.
I'm too confident though.
Tam, go for a steal.
Igor Janssen.
That is correct.
Where did he go to?
Went
He went
to
Wolves.
Wolves, aye.
To Wolves.
That's
And then
that's not a big
he was,
club.
he was
You
not
threw me off.
he's not playing Premier League.
No, it was like
I think it was
Championship.
like championship.
Championship, and then he went to, was it Charlton after that?
Aye.
He peaked in
Well,
the garbage,
with-
man. He peaked
He
in
played with
Garbage.
Fleetwood a couple of years ago.
Aye, I think so.
Something like that.
Never recovered since he was. Remember, it was called a faceless Lithuanian. For Iceland.
Iceland,
An absolute classic.
Well
Was
done,
that
boys.
Graham Spears Classic, was it? Or
Aye, something like that, wasn't it? Did we play? Who did we play after we played them? Who knocked us out? Was it Tottenham? Tottenham.
Aye, Spurs after
Next
that.
game.
if anyone can name a Paksi player, I reckon you win Tam down as a whole.
How no one's going to be able to get a Paksi
I would
player.
just put it out there just in case.
I've got the list in front of me. I could probably get one.
Is there any even noticeable players in that team?
Going to have to double check here. Let's have a quick look. Just talk amongst yourselves.
Well, Shanks, you were at the game. What was your memories? What do you think about it?
Aye, it was good. Aye.
Check your Instagram feed. You'll have pictures there with your mum.
Aye. You have a photo. You, your ma, your dad, and Halloumi, or whatever the fuck your cat's called. What's it called?
You're
Something
right.
like that, innit?
You're right, man.
I'm right. I will leave it there. Right.
Aye, move on.
Let's move on. Right. Headlines. Keo Mortozoglu was signed.
Yep. Keo Mortozoglu.
Fantastic.
Faceless Lithuanian.
What a player. What a player. What a player, though.
Oh, he's a baller. Like.
Just what we need. Just what we need.
Me and Tam are we're getting Mortozoglu on Saturday at Amityville.
Aye. So a defensive midfielder that will no doubt shoehorn as a centre back, ruin his career, and we'll be mourning about him every week for the next 6 months until he eventually leaves. No, I like it, man.
No, man. Trust in Joe. Trust in Joe.
If you're paying 350,000, that's you should be expecting quite a bit.
Well, that's what we paid to get in bloody Latvia. So, well, we are staying in a spa, so it's going to be sometime like.
That's what Ando's just paid for his house, and it's even got internet. So, really get disappointed.
It's entirely accurate.
So defensive midfielder. So is it Maroon Report was sharing some stats and stuff today. He's going to be very much like Benny, and he'll go no further than 60 yards and then he'll just stay exactly where he is.
He's fully going to be a back past Barry Ferguson, none going forward whatsoever.
His shooting stats were surprisingly good, but he may have like that sample size might have been like Benny's sample size at 2 goals and 2 shots or whatever it was last season. So but his dribbling was like minus numbers, so I don't know how that went.
Oh, well, you're on minus numbers with your dribbling. You fucking dribble loads of shit on this. He's going to be another 7 foot tall football player that can't win a header, isn't he? We're just going to watch balls get punted there his head.
So Tam said his shooting stats were good. I've just had a look there. He scored 4 goals in his last 80 games.
No, but like on the
that's
chart,
striker material for us.
It was green. It was green, man. I just went with the colours.
Right,
it was green, man.
Right.
No, I don't know.
But all jokes aside, obviously Sunday we played St Johnstone. Liam Boyce today confirmed needs cruciate knee surgery. Probably looking at 9 to 12 months out, which is an absolute gutter because obviously scored, gave it the big in to the fans, and rightly so for the absolute pelters and nonsense that he gets chucked at him. He's going to be a massive, massive loss to us, Shanks, isn't he?
Aye, I think I was sat next to Ando at the game. We were absolutely in awe of the goal, and we both said to each other, like, I hope that's where he kicks on. And then I went for a pie and it all went wrong. So, shite. We're going to need to get something in. There's no way we can go into that Euro campaign with Shanklin and Henderson. It's just not going to happen.
Aye, 100%. And I think we have to think with it as well that there's no malice in the tackle or that in it. If I've seen a few folk that were kind of hinting at it could have potentially been, a red or anything like that, but I didn't see it. It was just a 50-50 type thing. The guy, maybe his challenge on Devlin, you could have said, was maybe worse than the one with Shanklin, but Shanklin's just Shanklin. Boyce has just caught his leg in the ground and obviously jarred his knee, which was a Syrian. But the injury list, like Shanks just said there, recording tonight, which is Tuesday, we've got Halkett, Kingsley, Rowles, Benny, Boyce, Atkinson, all of them sidelined. Although Robbie the day saying that he expects Halkett and Kingsley back for Saturday.
I think it's strange to actually think that we maybe even bring Halkett back into the team on Saturday, given the fact that it's on a plastic pitch. I think if he's going to be even at a 60, 70, 80%, I would rather actually he doesn't bother playing on Saturday. I appreciate we're out, we're missing roles. We would be maybe not as lucky as we are in centre half positions. But if you look at how Nielsen played on Sunday, I don't think there's a need to risk Halkett coming back in for Saturday's game against Livingston. I would rather even not bother playing him on Saturday and make sure that he's fresh for next Thursday's game against the Turks, and I'll let somebody else have a pop get at their particular name.
Aye, we'll come up to that. We'll butcher their name soon. Shanks, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, obviously we've had an absolute freak show of a game there on Saturday with everybody getting injured. The boys that are desperate to play in Europe, does that have a bearing on the way that they'll play over the coming weeks? Do we think anybody's going to hold out going into a 50-50 coming away?
Well, I don't know. You've always got that in the back of your mind, don't you? That there's obviously glamour ties, so to speak, coming up. You look at, for example, Devlin just out of nowhere went up 4 levels and turned into N'Golo Kante against Zurich. He was outstanding, and he was pretty much the same on Sunday as well. So you're hoping that doesn't play in their mind, but it's a valid point, especially when you see the growing list like Boyce there. That he's going to miss the League Cup final, Scottish Cup final, and the UEFA Conference League final or whatever, just with these injuries. So it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. Tam, talking about Nielsen, how impressed were you with him on Sunday?
I thought he was brilliant. Like, questions are asked for me why Sibic has been coming on or starting ahead of him, because he looked assured. He had a couple of slack passes, but other than that, he also had some like worldly passes. There was one that went right to, it was like proper channel ball into the right hand side to Forrest, and it was amazing, and the rest of the teammates were congratulating him. But even defensively, he was just solid the whole game. So I think the boy's got a good big future. So we'll probably ruin him after about 5 games, but we'll see.
He was impressive on Sunday, Ando, wasn't he, Lewis Nielsen?
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a couple of chances as well where he took the ball for a walk up the middle of the park as well, kind of like what John Suter used to do when he found himself in a tight spot. He'd just take it for a wander right through the fucking centre, and he'd done that at least twice. And this was just no long after either Kev or Shanks had mentioned that he could be a good replacement for John Suter. So yeah, thumbs up from me. Was pleased with what I seen for the lad on Sunday. I thought he was ace.
Aye, and look, you touched on it there, Tam, about Sibic, right? Now we've seen for a while now that playing him as a centre back, he's whatever it is. His confidence is shot to pieces. It's not his natural position. When we seen him and got the best out of him, he was playing as defensive midfielder. Since then, we've sort of continually put him in this position where it just doesn't look like that's his natural position. You know, that he struggles to hold a correct position in the back line. We've seen it again. We'll talk about Zurich on Thursday, but you've seen it for like Zurich's goal. Sibic comes on and almost straight away overcommits in a silly area of the park. He gets ragdolled by a guy half his size, and you know you can just tell that his confidence is shot to pieces. But the one thing that I would say is that he can't be booing him. Like, what are you expecting him today coming on? Like, he's doing a job. The manager's playing him. Like, the manager sees what we see. So, you know, if you look at Boyle's goal, is it Sibic? Is Sibic at fault? Probably. You could blame him. You look at some of the goals in Zurich. He plays his part. He obviously plays a part in the goal against us on Thursday or whatever. But you can't be booing a boy onto the park. We seen it at the pub on the Thursday. Do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as we seen he was coming on, folk in the pub are booing and all that. And it's like, fair enough. Like, I know he's probably no good enough to play centre back, but you can't slaughter your players before they're even on the park. You made a valid point, Tam. It does beg the question as to, like, Lewis Nielsen. We've seen him in pre-season. We've seen him, nothing of him since, and then we see him on Sunday, and he was more than assured. So I would imagine that he'll get a run at tomorrow as well. Just touching back on injuries there, Brad's, how many numbers do you reckon we need in between what now and, is it in 2 days or something?
Probably at least another 3 bodies. The big issue now is that people know we're desperate, so we'll just chuck up the price. So if we were looking at, I don't know, like a big lump like Joe Nubla, he's only a £200,000 player for Levy. They'll bite your hand off for that kind of money. Now they know the Boyce is out, it doubles, it triples. And they say you're desperate, you need a body in. So that's going to be a sticking point, I think, for a lot of kind of half decent or quality players that we would have been targeting. The numbers will dictate that, and they know that we're desperate. So realistically, we might only see 1, maybe 2 coming in.
Kev, we've sung his praises on this podcast a million times. We've talked about him before, but I can't help but feel that it is a bit of an own goal on our part to be sitting 2 days before the transfer window shuts, still talking about a need for players. Like, we knew that we would have a condensed schedule with us being in guaranteed group football. We as a club are talking about wanting to progress into the later stages of cup competitions. Seems a bit of a own goal that we are now, as Brad says, we're now chasing our tail, and we'll have to pay over the odds if we have to pay for anybody right now.
Yeah, I agree. We of course we don't know what has gone on in the background. There might have been 3, 4, 5 different deals that we thought were actually going to go through, and they haven't. I know we spoke last week about the boy for Nottingham Forest, and he's chosen to go to Sheffield Wednesday instead because he wants to be involved in a league title running. And okay, fine, mate, but you could have actually had European football, which would actually maybe give you a little bit more. Who knows? I don't. So there is a lot of there's a lot of things possibly going on in the background. As you rightly say, we've praised Savage a number of times. So we don't know what's been discussed, what's been pushed around. Deals might have fallen through, but it is now going to be a real sort of rush to try and at least get. I think Brad's is right. 3, we maybe need 4, maybe 5 even, when you consider where we sit with injuries at this moment in time, because there's no way that these guys are going to come back 100%. They're going to come back at a 90, 95. They're going to take time to actually get back up to game speed, etc., etc. And games in the European Conference League or your cup competitions, maybe the exception of tomorrow night's, I don't know, but they're not really the games to actually just go in at on a 90% rating. So it's definitely worrying as far as I'm concerned.
And look, we're seeing a bit of a trend here. It's no coincidence that Halkett had a bad injury last year, has come back, and suddenly he's got another injury now. Kingsley struggled with some injuries towards the tail end of last season. Now he's again injured now because the pressure of actually we need you back as quickly as we possibly can is a nightmare. Ando, if you had an open checkbook, what positions are you going after now?
Right, so midfielders out of the question. I don't think we need any of them. For me, it's got to be a prime striker, so someone that can start every week, i.e., like Shankland-esque, someone of that caliber, and then maybe a backup as well. In terms of other positions, I think we're probably all right. I mean, we've got enough youth, and see, with one eye on the rest of the league, right? So, seriously, who's going to be our competition this year apart from Aberdeen? Obviously, I know they started slow, but they're coming on to a bit of a game now. I think we probably get away with playing quite a lot of the junior or youth players in the league campaign, especially at the back, in midfield, because we've seen that every other team is just shite so far, and I include Hibs in that. But you save your big players for the big games, Europe and Old Firm, Hibs, Aberdeen, etc., etc. So I'd say one prime striker, another striker to warm the bench. He may be looking at some sort of multi-role defender if such a thing exists. Someone that's quite versatile, but again, you're probably going to have to pay through the nose for that just for redundancy. But I think in midfield we're pretty stacked. We'll wait and see what happens with Kumar-Zoglu, but. For me, a defender, two strikers.
I think Kev kind of mentioned it there. I'm in the camp of we need at least 5. We need 2 strikers minimum because we can't rely on Shankland, and we can't be gone in like with you and Henderson or whoever is backups as well. It's not fair on Henderson to have to carry that can if Shankland isn't there, for example. Plus, the role Boyce plays, he plays the 10 role amazingly well, and the last thing that we want is Barry Mackay, we've seen probably be not as effective as his usual self playing as a 10, so you got to keep him wide and drifting in. So you're thinking, right, well, we need at least 2 strikers, we need a 10. I think we need a centre back, at least 1, maybe 2. And he had a great game against Celtic, but we need Ross, a capable backup that isn't Ross Stewart, but that is what it is.
Are we even going to mention his performance? And sorry if he's covered it last week. I've not listened back. Is there any sort of apology in the offering for that cheesy?
Nope. There was quite a few, to be fair. There was quite a few, but
was there? I didn't know if there was just a one game flash in the pan. He done not too bad, and we'll just fucking gloss over that completely. But anyway, old news. Sorry.
Cheers for tuning in, Ando. That was good.
Thanks for those.
Shut up, Tam. You were producing it, so I knew it was going to be a shit show, so I never bothered.
Right, other things that we can talk about there. Obviously, the podcast is going to Europe, where we'll be in Riga. We will be in Florence as well. We're too shite back to go to Istanbul because we're not hard enough. So that'll be good. We'll try and bring as much, and I'm going to use a wanky YouTube podcast term, as much content as we possibly can from our trips abroad. But we secured a venue for the away games, but the Gorgie edition. Do you want to fill us in with where we can expect the troops to gather?
I still need to do some confirmations, but it's looking very likely that we'll be, if you were there on Thursday, we're going to be returning to the Shandon, which was absolutely jumping before the Zurich game. And really looking forward to working with the guys there. Like, we could have I'll be going solo because you guys are all going away. So
you
I'll enjoy
that. So we listened, and obviously we were there ourselves at the Murrayfield, so we know what worked, what didn't work, etc. So the plan was always to take it round Gorgie rather than make just one destination, because obviously Gorgie's the heart of the club. It's where the club is, where we can put extra money into pubs and clubs round about the local area, then why not type thing. So we'll take the Horny Hearts Thursdays to the Shandon, see what happens. We're going to get confirmation of big screens and extra bar staff and maybe even pop-up bars to cope with demand, as we pretty much sold the Murrayfield out of bevy on the Thursday. So we'll obviously post everything, where to be, where to meet up, etc., on social media for the, what is it, who we play first? Riga team first. So we play them first. Cool. And then Saturday as well, we'll put some some stuff on social media as well, where obviously we're all pretty local to Livingston, so we'll all be at Livingston. We'll pick a destination pre-match and gather in there before we fire to the game, which should be decent.
Bradley's house.
Aye. Any other headlines that you want to talk about before we've quite noticeably not even discussed our European football yet, which we'll dive into after this, but anything else that's caught your eye in the world of football this week?
Jack Ross, he's a great manager. I'll just leave that there and move on.
Yeah, it's almost like we pointed that out in an intro that we did like 12 months ago or whatever, but never mind.
He's allegedly a good manager.
That's very true. Actually, there was something else I was going to say. I can't remember what it is now. Decisions. Obviously, we had another controversial decision the weekend. The James Sands or whoever he is at Rangers should have been given a straight red card. I've watched it about 10 times. I have absolutely no idea what the referee sees there. Well, what bugs me the most, right? You can see him mouthing saying, "Get up." I'm like, well, you clearly seen that he's fell down. Like, how did you think he just fell down when he was clean through one-on-one with the goalkeeper? And it didn't matter because it finished 9-0, but the Celtic third goal should have been chopped off because the player runs into the referee. I thought the rules was it's an automatic bounce ball when the referee either stops the ball or impedes a player going towards the ball. They don't. The play plays on and they score, and then the fourth goal's offside. Like, I get it. Kyogo was sensational that whole game. This whole tactic of being offside until second phase is going to cause every team in the league problems because it breaks every defensive structure that you have. You just don't know how to deal with that. But you also have to have linesmen making right decisions. Like, they went on to score 9, so it doesn't matter the game. But VR would have chopped that goal off, and VR would have chopped off the third. So it could have been a different game. But Celtic were outrageous.
Yeah. To be fair, John Beaton was absolutely horrendous on Sunday. There was no big decisions he really fucked up, but fuck me.
Well, we continued the trend from the referee against Zurich. I think the only decision the referee got right against Zurich was to send Grant off. Everything else was.
I don't know. That's you saying the first yellow was a yellow then.
No, that's it was what was mere meaning is it was definitely a dive and it wasn't a penalty.
100%.
Right, let's talk about our European. Obviously, we had the disappointment of dropping out of the Europa League, but obviously we always had the safety net of the Europa Conference League. So we've got RSF Riga, Fiorentina, and Istanbul fucking ballsack here, or something like that they're called. Thoughts on any of those? What we unbeaten in all of them, lose all of them? Anybody want to put their big boy pants on and make any early predictions? Shanks, we'll go to Shanks first. He always likes to make an arse of it, and then we'll get some sensible responses.
6-0, top of the group, easy.
Just one game,
Every game.
Every game. Mesut Ozil greeting his wee squint eyes out. Absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing.
McCulloch's got to trip him up in the warm-up.
Aye. He'll be the only person that will be able to play football at Tynecastle and sightsee at the Royal Mile on the same game, man. Outrageous. Ando, what were you going to say?
No, nothing. I can't weigh in with anything funnier than that. I was just going to give you a sensible opinion, but that's dead now. Doesn't matter.
But it was good that we instantly went into the draw on the Friday because it helped soften the absolute kick in the teeth that was Thursday night, which was Brad's. I don't think I've seen Hearts play as well for 60 minutes probably since the Burley era. We were absolutely sensational.
Mate, it was brilliant. It was so good. And you know what? I said that to everybody at work the next day. It was like that. It almost hurts more. I'd rather they played shite and got beat than play really well and get fuck all from it. We see that in second half performances against like Celtic and second half performances against Rangers. Why play well for a wee short period of time and then get nothing out of it? I think the big frustration thing for me though is we blew them out of the water. So why not go in with that mentality in the first leg?
Well, I was actually going to. That's where I was going with that. Is Robbie deserves loads of credit, but I actually can't help but feel that the reaction we got on Thursday was almost a reaction to the fact that actually we made a bit of a dickhead over there. Like, we over-egged how good we thought they were. We changed their shape. We worried about this team that was going to. They were the Swiss champions and they were going to play football. And we talked about their explosion in the wider areas and all that sort of stuff. And we changed our formation, changed our shape, changed our tactics, didn't have all our attacking players on. And then we're like, actually, this team's pretty shite. And then when we brought them at Tynecastle, had the exact team that we wanted. We were just all out attack for 60 minutes and it was brilliant to see.
Right, and we'll probably go on to it, and you'll probably have got it in your notes. Boise scores, it's a completely different game. It opens the floodgates, and we would have fucking pumped them. I can guarantee you that.
No, even just Boise, to be fair. Forest had plenty of options.
Forest, even we, like, that was where it was absolutely superb, Kev, right up until the decision making in the final third. Like, we had Boyce in the opening 3 minutes. It's cut back. He trips here himself. Was there. You had him. He chopped the boy once, opens up the angle. He's right-footed, and then chops him again. I'm like, wait, then Alan Forrest. He takes a touch, and then an eternity when actually he should have just banged it first time. You score. Is Boyce's header. He's tried to do it. The difficult thing now is his header on target. He scores. He's tried to bounce it in off the ground, etc. It was that was the only bit missing for the game on Thursday, wasn't it?
100%. 100%. It was the only thing that we lacked, and I don't know if it was down to the fact that some of the players were a bit nervous and wanted that extra touch. The one with Boyce where he turns back on himself and goes on his left foot, I still can't quite understand why. He could have taken the shot first, first out, or he could have quite easily played it in towards the penalty spot in the middle of the box and then had another strike had a strike at goal. But to actually cut it back on what is classed as his weaker foot, I couldn't quite work that one out. As yourself and Tam have said, Alan Forrest just hit it. He takes a touch, he gives the guy the chance to actually close him down and block it, and he goes out for a corner. We've had headers, the Alan Forrest shot. Give the keeper the due, he's saved well, but even then you're still thinking, roll that low into the bottom corner. It was we could have been 3-4-0 up at half time. And as Bradley says, it's a totally different game. We're talking about.
I actually think when you talk about the Boise header there, Kev, I actually think the Rouse header from the corner is every bit a sitter as the Boyce one. Like, it was a free header, middle of the box. He just got his time and he scores the exact goal he should have scored on Sunday. The exact situation.
Exactly. The one that still annoys me is actually nothing to do with us missing or anything like that. Was their defender just getting his head to Kingsley's, what was going to be Kingsley's header, and I generally think that was going to take the make a hole in the back of the net. He was nailing that one that hard, but hey, yeah, I know. Stinky.
No, that's it, Kev. You're getting kicked off the podcast forever. I'm never speaking to you ever again.
Oh.
You're not getting to finish it. You're not getting to finish your. You're not getting to finish your sentence or anything. We're moving on. We're moving on for that. 73% possession at one point, 10 shots on target. The first booking for Grant was a joke. I think he booked pretty much every Hearts player enough. It felt like every single thing that was happening, they got the ball. But the first half especially were brilliant, and every player was at least an 8, but Alex Cochrane was superb, like absolutely brilliant. Cammy Devlin was outrageous. George Grant, I thought, was brilliant too. They were superb. And the front four, that's why it's even more gutting. I know Boyce missed a sitter or whatever, but you have to be in those positions to miss them, if you know what I mean. I thought the front four on Thursday, they were outrageous. They were unplayable. If we play at that level and that intensity, there's even Celtic at Rangers at Tynecastle would struggle to keep up with that type of stuff, and that's why it's disappointing that it takes a big European night for us to see that a bit, doesn't it, Tim?
100%. As you say, like, it was from the off, like, as well, and I've seen a lot of talk about the atmosphere at Tynecastle as well, and I think it just drained us because it was attack after attack after attack, and I think everyone was just getting more and more nervous that it kind of stifled the atmosphere. But if we start like that against, I don't know, Livingston on Saturday, maybe not there, but like if we do that, we could have a fucking 9-0 winning game if we could actually finish our chances, to be honest with you.
Aye. And then I think you made a good point as well. Like the game, it just felt like the longer it went, we didn't score. Oyers were like, "Oh, we've seen this story before. we have seen this story before." And the annoying thing about the penalty, Shanks, is that see if he takes 2 more steps, he gets a penalty anyway. Like all he's done is he's just jumped the gun. He's went like a second too early. If he kept another step, the guy hits him. He gets the contact that he needs, and it's a penalty. Do you know what I mean? All right, friend. Thanks, Shanks. Thanks. No, well,
6 months away. And then
you were too busy chewing that dog toy, weren't you? That's what you were doing. You know that
Shandon was class, man. I loved it.
I had a fucking right good time in the Shandon. Like, talking, the only positive for Zurich was the fact that their fans were class. All I kept thinking was, imagine that scene, but at the lower Gorgie, filled with Hearts fans or something. It was outrageous. I didn't think with what they had, they brought their own tifo. They had fucking a flag for every person in that stand, and more pyro than any football team I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
You know what? Fair play to them as well. I seen a video of them like breaking into the bottom section because they were meant to be in the top corner, and they just were like, "Nah, fuck that. I'm just going to the bottom." And fair fucks, because it made it better atmosphere for them.
It did. You did talk about the atmosphere in there, Ando. It's something that, again, I know it feels like we keep banging on about it, etc., but like we were in the Shandon, we were in the Murrayfield, like the atmospheres in the pubs, even when we were walking to the game, everywhere in Gorgie was bouncing. Like every pub was folk singing, folk in the street were singing, the queue to get in was singing, and then you get into the stadium and we sit in G, so we're lucky that we're in the section that sings, but that's it. Literally nowhere else. And then you have that annoying thing that we sit up the back of G and there's like loads of folk there, but you were getting like some folk trying to start new chants and then other folk shouting like fucking, "What the fucking hell is that?" And it's like, shut up, man, that is the shitest chant on planet Earth. "We're from the capital, you're from a shithole." Like,
was Shanks that loud, man?
Sorry, mate. Sorry. If you just let me ken if you want to start songs.
I thought the pre-match thing was a bit weird. Like, I felt that like it was building up, it was pure bouncing, and then we had this weird slow as anything version of Hearts karaoke with the Hearts song on that even the tune was gone slower than the words were coming up in the screen, and I was like, what is going on here, man? This pure built up to sort of fever pitch and then killed it. So it was a bit strange. And you're right, it's Twitter is probably where most of the new chants and stuff come from, but it's like on European nights or big games, there's like 4 songs. We sing the Heart song, the European song, we'll maybe sing Stephen Kingsley's song because folk know the words to it, and then 1 or the 2 of a Drew Busby or a Betty Me, and then it's back to the start and it's the same again, and then it's like, fucking hell, man. Like, how many times do I have to sing the Heart song? Come on. So we need to definitely work on it, and it's something that hopefully for the home games, we're hoping to have a tifo. We're going to have it confirmed pretty soon. Again, we'll try and organise whether it be a meeting point and folk to make their way to the stadium and all that sort of stuff. We'll obviously let folk know. Any other final thoughts on the Zurich game other than the crippling disappointment?
No, we've covered it all. Shanks was a knob. The away fans were ace. The atmosphere could have been better, but you know what? Despite the crushing defeat, those are the games you live for. Obviously, I had to go through fucking a horrible drive to get up there. But, like, honestly, I think I sent you a message in the group chat. I was sat, I think I got to Gorgie at fucking 4:30. I was like a wee fucking schoolboy. I was so fucking excited. And obviously, it just never happened. But I think we'll get a couple of results this year, man. It'll be fucking brilliant. But these are the games that you look forward to so much. I just hope we can fucking deliver.
Brad, this sounds like sour grapes, Brad, but they were absolute shite, weren't they?
They were so pish. They
They were so
garbage.
bad. They were absolute rubbish, man.
I can't think of anything that they created in the first half at all. It took to a sending off, and they made a couple of good changes at half time. But all they did was just contain Hearts a wee bit better. They didn't create anything at all. And that's what makes it more gutting, I suppose.
Sure does. Cool. So obviously we played back to league duty, which I'm not going to lie to you. I've had a look at the fixtures. It does worry me. We've got Motherwell away. We've got Aberdeen away. We've got Ross County away. I think we've got Rangers at home as well. All after European games. Threadbare squad. The sort of highs and lows of European football. So Sunday for me was a big test. I didn't expect us to rotate as much as we did, but obviously necessity means that we have to. And overall, I think, was it a vintage performance? No, but we won, and Kev, that's always the most important thing, isn't it?
It's, you could, if you're to turn around and say, you know what, you'll get a victory after every European game, but it'll be shite football, you'll take it. It's as simple as that. I think we've mentioned this before, but the importance of actually getting third again at the end of this season is huge at this moment in time. So, if you're able to scrape together victories against St Johnstone, I think the next one after the RFS game, I think, is Motherwell away. If you get a decent, a win there, it just bodes well. Yes, playing against a Celtic or Rangers or whatever on a Sunday after a European game is going to be a lot tougher. But we've just got to be hopefully positive and make sure that the changes that we make between a Thursday night and a Sunday actually work for us.
Tam, I think one of the most pleasing aspects of Sunday, in a totally weird and roundabout way, was that both our goals were the master of our own downfall and every bad thing that happened. Kid Gordon passed them the ball, they scored. Gino should have tapped the ball into an empty net. He didn't. They're not at the park and score. But that's kind of, it's a good and a bad thing in it, is the fact that we didn't really at any point look under serious threat from St Johnstone.
Yeah, 100%. You pretty much summed it up. It was mistakes that really led to it. Switched off at the second goal, and I'm sure we can allow Craig Gordon one mistake because it's been a while since we've seen a mistake for him. So, but no, as you say, we fairly controlled it, and there was chances and some of the sort of fringe that you wouldn't say your best 11. They did perform. Like, I thought Gino had a decent game, and we were saying beforehand that Gino needs to turn up today. GMS, I'll not even bother because I'm done with him and I have been for a while. And even just the seeing Connor Smith coming on, he did struggle, but he was kind of put in at the wrong time. But it's nice to see a bit more sort of, even the bench was a bit more younger players. Hopefully they get a chance, but they'll have to prove themselves as well.
Yeah, Gino is one of those people that carries a lot of stick. We've spoken about it before that he can float in and out of games. He's probably a victim of the fact that the system that we play doesn't really suit him. But I thought, other than the sort of brain fart where I don't know why he's not just rolled the ball into the net, why he's tried to think Pickett Gankland. His goalkeeper's made a great save to touch it onto the post. He gets his goal, squares it for Boyce, gets the goal that puts us in front, etc. Brads, I thought, was pretty good on Sunday.
Yeah, it was one of his better games, and what we've been asking him for to do a million times is to get the ball and then beat his man, like run that. Although he'll get the credit for the Boyce cross, he put 3 of those crosses to the exact same position 3 times throughout the match. It was up to the strikers to get there. They didn't, unfortunately. It didn't come that way, but he actually created a lot of good opportunities throughout that game, and you could tell with his celebration with Boyce as well. He's obviously been a bit pissed off with his supporters and people jumping down his throat. So fair play to him. If that's what he needs to perform like that, keep doing it.
Right, here we go. We're going to get some wisdom. Shanks, what you got to say about it?
No, I was just going to touch on the Gino point. Ando was in my ear on Saturday saying that he was one of the only ones that he would have gave pass marks to. I thought he looked fucked a half an hour ago. He got emptied right down in the right corner, and I just thought he looked absolutely knackered. So it'll be interesting to see how that position is filled as we move into 2 games a week. But fair play. He had a good few moments, and he did play well. But I'm just a bit nervous about the lack of stamina for me. Obviously, being an athlete myself, I've got the license to say that.
Right. Kev, our equaliser came from a corner. How many corners was that? We reset the counter.
According to Neil Robertson, we were at 32, I believe it was. That was our 32nd corner of the season in which we scored, which, in all accounts, is actually a hell of a lot better than last season. So we're moving in the right direction. Just
I've always said 32 was my lucky number, so brilliant.
I loved sitting next to you for that Zurich game, and everybody's cheering every corner we get, and you're just sitting in my ear going, we're pitched for corners, so didn't expect it.
I agree with that.
It's my default.
One thing on that, the GMS's delivery for corners on Sunday I thought was good. It was the one thing he done well. I think everything else, he just fucking lazy. Didn't look interested. Could have ran an extra 2 or 3 yards to pick up a pass, just never. But the one thing that he does get a thumbs up for me on is his corner delivery. And you seen that on Sunday. I thought he was good. But that is it. Line drawn. Everything else is pish.
To be fair, I don't want us to start scoring for corners if we get freak injuries like that each time.
It was a strange. Fair. It was a strange one. But actually, when you look back on Sunday, on paper it looked like it was, and it was really. We'd take 8 minutes to go, you get a penalty, etc. But when you actually look at the game, you think, well, their goal comes from a mistake, which is a disaster. Then we obviously get the 2 rapid fire goals. Then Gino hits the post. Then we should have a penalty at 2-1 because that Peter Haring is a Stonewall penalty. I never noticed it at the game, and you never, because we never spoke about it. But when you see the Jalen match highlights, it quite clearly absolutely beats the man, and the man just wipes him out. Then Alan Forrest hits the bar. To be fair, you got to give the keeper credit. That was a great save. Gino's brain fart where he should just tap it in. Shanklin should have scored immediately when he came on, where he had it straight at the goalkeeper. So on paper, you're 1-0 down and then 2 each, and you're a bit like, but we probably did more than enough in the game to win it.
I can't stress enough. I know Heart fans are so fickle. How many times have we watched that team in that kind of performance and get beat and get scudded and walk away with no points, and we've got fucking 3? You know what I mean?
All that kept running through my head was, remember in the Craig Levine days, you're putting Craig Halkett up front to try and salvage a draw at Hamilton because you're 2-0 down. For some random reason, you've missed chance after chance after chance, and you have to put Halkett up front because the only other option you've got is Uche, who's fucking garbage. So, right. Moving on, tomorrow we obviously play Kilmarnock, so there's no really much point in discussing the actual game. Let's just give predictions. Tam, what's your prediction for... We'll do both games actually. We'll give Livy and Kelly, but they Demora first, so give Kelly first.
Kelly, scrape a 1-0.
Brad's.
Kelly will get beat 1-0.
Shanks.
3-0 Hearts.
Kev.
2-0.
Ando.
I'm in the other camp. 1-0. And it might be after extra time. I can see us putting out a fairly weakened team, struggling and having to go to extra time, winning by the odd goal.
I think it will be a very comfortable 2-0 for Hearts, would be my prediction. Saturday's game is a hell of a lot harder for me. It's be a real tough test on Saturday. So Livingston on the AstroTurf. Tam, 2-0 the Lions.
Nah, 1-1.
Brad's.
I will go 1-1 as well.
Shanks.
We always struggle there, so 2-2 for me.
Kev.
I'll go with a very tight 1-0.
Hearts or Levy.
Hearts.
Ando.
Forrest is going to dick ping his old club right in the face with a hat trick. Hearts 3-0.
Nice. I'm in Kev's camp. I think it'll be like a very tight 1-0 like it was last year. Right, let's end it on a downer. Kev, use your shite quiz answers.
Thanks. Cheers, man.
Can I put my hand up and say that I think I've got both of them, but only based on one clue each. So
you can explain the reason behind that clue as well, then, Ando.
I will do.
Good.
That's fine.
Good.
Well, so, give someone else a first right of refusal. I don't want to steal the show.
Okay. So 4 little clues, single words or little bits in regards to existing or ex-Hearts players. The first one tonight was Indianapolis, Zlatan, blank, and where the party's at. So, Tam, who are you going for on that one?
No idea. Sam Nicholson.
Okay. You're wrong.
I'll put my hand up now.
Go on then. Ando, who are you going with?
So I'm going to say it's most likely an American player. The Zlatan was the clue that gave it, and Perry Kitchen played alongside Zlatan at LA Galaxy, so I'm saying Perry Kitchen.
I'm also saying Perry Kitchen.
The party's in the kitchen.
I was going to say Billy King because he likes to go in the ching, and that's where the party is.
I'll be honest,
coming back.
I didn't get that where the party's at. A blank or Indianapolis.
In the kitchen. Oh, clever.
There we go. The blank was simply he never ever scored for us. Zlatan, as you rightly said, Ando, he was born in Indianapolis, and where the party's at. And the final one, there was only 2 of them anyway, but the second one, Trampoline, Solid 7, Parkhead, and Monkstown were your 4 clues. Brad, do you want to have a pop at that one?
No, mate, because I didn't listen to you at the start, and I was trying to guess how all these things fitted into one person's name.
Oh, no, okay.
Trying to look at how Indianapolis, Zlatan, fucking blank and Party as a player. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I can't think of him.
Also, cheers to you, Bradley, for tuning in last week. That's cool.
But I'm guessing Solid 7's got something to do with Smith, so that's it.
That's my thinking as well. Mikey Smith, Solid 7. Corbett famously calls this out. It has to be that.
Correct. Yeah, Mikey Smith. Solid 7 being probably the most obvious of the 4 clues. Trampoline is that's how he actually done his back in a couple of seasons ago when he was out injured. Parkhead. No, seriously, you never read that?
No.
Parkhead was where he actually had his debut for us, and Monkstown is where he actually grew up. So there you go.
And you missed the opportunity to say he's for Ulster. He was doing the bouncy on trampoline, blah blah blah. But that's I'll tweet the Heart and Hand podcast, and they can have that part.
No worries.
So they've got something to look forward to.
Right, boys. So we can look forward to injury. I'm pretty sure it was Mickey Smith fucked his back at Livy last time. So
thanks. Cheers for depressing us. There you go, Brad.
And Craig Gordon made outrageously like 2 of the best saves that we've ever seen. And Shanks are the Shanks.
And Nando had the worst miss ever.
That's very true. He did. That was true. Right, boys. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see everybody else on Saturday at Livy.
No worries.
Later.
You guys.
Just boys.
Gorgaro.